bring up the first roaster of the night. This is a very fucking funny guy. Just mentioned him a few minutes ago. Make some noise for Jesse Joyce!
Thank you. You guys, how about a hand for Peter Rosenberg, huh? You guys? Yeah. DJ for Hot 97. Rappers like Peter. In fact, he's the only Jewish guy who hangs out with him who's not filling a gag order to a pregnant stripper with a black eye. They're all lawyers. It doesn't matter. Anybody. That's right. We'll fucking get there. Look at this dais, everyone. This looks like the Ocean's 11 gang you'd put together if you were going to rob a vagina of its natural lubricant. I've never been in a room with more tits and fewer women. A lot of these guys up here eat steroids like they're candy. Except for Blue Meanie, of course. He eats candy like it's candy. This is unbelievable. The Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkoff together again. You know, Nikolai and the Sheik represented America's two biggest enemies in the 1980s, crack addiction and irresponsible sodomy. Nikolai Volkoff is here, as I like to call him, Jerk-Off Smirnoff. You know, Nikolai, throughout the 80s, that was a really good look. A members-only jacket and no pants. You look like somebody pulled the fire alarm while you were getting blown in a bowling alley. Guys, I did a ton of research for this roast, and you know, unlike the rest of these guys up here, Nikolai doesn't have a lot of skeletons in his closet because he left them all piled in a shallow ditch in Bosnia. Nikolai, I gotta ask, when you were playing the Russian character, did you ever play Russian roulette? No? Well, you should, because then there's a 1 in 6 chance you die with some dignity. He's a really nice guy. Guys, I'm kidding. He's a really nice guy. We've become pen pals, in fact. Every time he visits Russia, he mails me a postcard or one of his nieces. As was mentioned, Nikolai decided to run for office in Maryland because he was really involved in politics in communist Eastern Europe. He was always volunteering to help. I mean, he personally relocated thousands of cripples and gypsies to a bulldozed hole in a field. But despite all the election setbacks, Nikolai's really involved in bettering the community here in America. He works with the city of Baltimore and every summer helps send disabled kids to camp. There's still no exact figures as to how many kids, but a large pile of shoes behind the furnace suggests thousands. Nikolai, you look like an assistant football coach who would fuck troubled youth in the locker room. Hang on. Listen, guys, I'm not saying he does. I'm just saying if he did, he could totally get away with it because nobody remembers Nikolai Volkoff. It's a fucking roast, dipshits. What the fuck? That's not a nice thing to say. Shut the fuck up. All right, so look, in this wrestling character thing, I get that Nikolai's supposed to be from Russia, and I get that the Iron Sheik's from Iran, and I guess New Jack is from some kind of broken home. But Blue Meanie, what the fuck? How poorly thought out is your stupid character? So you're blue? That's it? You unimaginative beanbag? Where the fuck are you from? A freshly cleaned toilet bowl? What the fuck are you? Are you a Windex addict or an angry urinal cake? What the fuck is a Blue Meanie? You look like Guy Fieri with hypothermia. You guys, the Blue Meanie and the Sheik couldn't be any more different. Like, for example, in the Iron Sheik's culture, they'll cut off your hand for stealing a loaf of bread. And in the Blue Meanie's culture, they'll cut off your foot for drinking too much Mountain Dew. Blue Meanie is so fat, he got stuck in 1997. The Blue Meanie never finished high school because it wasn't covered in gravy. For a while, Blue Meanie dated porn star Jasmine Sinclair, so at least one of you was making entertainment for adults. The Blue Meanie's theme song was DJ Cool's Let Me Clear My Throat. He used it because that was the first thing his girlfriend said when she came home from work. The Blue Meanie always wore dark black makeup around his eyes. When he would walk around with his girlfriend, it was always funny to see them out together, because as a couple, they'd have 3 black eyes. That one might take a second. The Blue Meanie has a tattoo of his own face on his arm. That's, of course, so that when he blows his head off, they can identify the body. Speaking of dead people, New Jack got in town yesterday. And within hours, there was a report that someone had been killed in the Bronx. New Jack was initially a suspect, but his alibi checked out when he proved he spent the whole day in Queens murdering a completely different person. New Jack is like the Michael Jordan of wrestling because he probably killed his dad. He really has killed so many people. You guys, this is interesting. New Jack told me that when you kill a person, there's a lot of labored breathing, and then their eyes bug out, and then they shit their pants. So, I don't want to freak anybody out here tonight, but I think so far someone's killed the Iron Sheik 3 times. New Jack wears a bracelet around his ankle. He's not under house arrest, he's just so brain damaged, he thinks his leg is his arm. You guys, it's cool. I taped a bunch of phone books to my chest before this started, so I'm all set. New Jack is like a lot of retarded adults. Every day his mom walks him to the park so he can rape a jogger. A lot of people warn me, they're like, aren't you worried about making fun of that guy? Because he's really strong. And you guys, yeah, like, New Jack is strong, but he's not nearly as strong as he should be for how retarded he is. But I gotta say though, honestly, as a wrestler, no, but I'm a big fan. As a wrestler, I have to say that so he doesn't stab me. I don't give a fuck about wrestling. Anyway, but as a wrestler, he is an innovator. There's no one like him. I once saw New Jack throw a garbage can full of weapons into the ring. Not only did it get him arrested, but it woke up Virgil, who was sleeping in that garbage can. You guys, Virgil's here. When I walked by him on the way over, I overheard his wallet and calendar arguing over who was emptier. Virgil is so old and broke, he has to get up 5 times a night to find a pot to piss in. You know, he may be sad and lonely, but the good thing about Virgil is he won't get Ebola because it depends on human contact. Virgil's at all these autograph conventions begging for people to buy his signature. You are so fucking desperate. I don't think anyone on this dais has seen a more pathetic display of begging and pleading, and New Jack has killed dozens of people. The difference is, unlike New Jack, Virgil actually wants to go to prison. Because he heard when you go to prison, someone gives you a phone call. At fan conventions, Virgil's table is so empty, you'd think Mike Vecchione was headlining it. By the way, how about a hand for Caroline's, huh? You guys, I'm glad we did this roast here, right? Because it's classic, right? Because you realize if we'd done this at some hole in the wall, Metzger would have tried to stick his dick through it so Virgil could make bus fare. Metzger, you look like Albanian Mr. Bean. You fucking weak chin greaseball. You look like Zach Braff, not the actor, the Bulgarian pornographer. Kurt Metzger's the only one up here who didn't have to wrestle to sound retarded. Kurt grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and that's a real bummer because there was a bunch of shit he wasn't allowed to do. Like, he wasn't allowed to celebrate Halloween. So that means when he comes to your door wearing a mask, it's to rape you. Mike Vecchione is also here. You might recognize Mike from Last Comic Standing or as option 3 on the wall of your dad's barbershop. How is it that every time I see you, Mike, you look exactly like a Staten Island fireman on his way to a strip club? But guys, now on to the man of the hour, Yasser Arafati. Sheik, you look so uncomfortable up here, you'd think you were sitting next to yourself on a plane. Look, I'm kidding, guys. The Sheik is obviously not an actual terrorist. I mean, what does he have to gain? 72 virgins? Big deal. Back in the Sheik's heyday, he spent every night in an arena surrounded by 35,000 virgins. The Sheik and Nikolai were tag team partners. When they get in the ring, the Sheik would grab the mic and shout, "Iran #1, Russia #1. Do you not know how numbers work, Sheik? That must have driven your fans fucking crazy. Because you know how obsessed autistic people are with counting. The Sheik is a washed up drunk. You'd think if you looked that much like a genie, you'd try to avoid spending the last 20 years in a bottle. Look at you with that handlebar mustache and that turban. You look like you're about to hijack the plane built by the Wright brothers. Look at yourself with those bug eyes and that wrinkly face and that constant wheezing. You're like my grandma's pug. Except that when her pug got old and pathetic, we didn't have a roast. We just had the human decency to put him to sleep. The Sheik is terrible at English. Probably because anytime anyone's ever tried to give him Rosetta Stones, he immediately throws them at adulterous women and gay kids. He was a bodyguard for the Shah of Iran, which is, of course, in case somebody tried to assassinate the Shah with a folding chair. But the Sheik's life has been no picnic. Don't be fooled by that fucking blanket on his head. You guys, you have no idea how hard his life has been. I mean, can you imagine every time he walks into a Pizza Hut, the waiter has to set his head for a party of 4? The Iron Sheik is like Dora the Explorer, because he's a fake character. He has an adorable accent, and because all of his fans still live with their parents. Sheik even bragging about winning a heavyweight championship forever. You won because that's what the script said had to happen. You don't see Darth Vader wagging his dick for the last 3 decades for winning Empire Strikes Back. Pro wrestling has all the redeeming value of child porn, except in child porn, the fighting is real. All right, guys. But seriously, I do want to say this. The Iron Sheik really is a great man. You've seen it in the video. In his home country of Iran, he's a national hero. After winning medals and coaching the Olympics, and the Iranian government held a huge state banquet for him a number of years ago, and the highlight of that evening was when his wonderful 78-year-old mother got up to the podium and she read a beautiful poem about pursuing your dreams. And after she was done reading that heartfelt poem, every proud Iranian in that room stood up and they beat her to death for reading. Thank you, guys. That's it.